that target carp, understanding carp. And I do think that we're in an age of carp fishing nowadays where certainly a lot of newcomers that are in the game, they ain't really interested in knowing carp. They want to know everything about a rig, everything about a bait, and that's all they're interested in. Yeah, some bloke couldn't catch anything, and I was catching a few, and he didn't like it.
Guys, a warm welcome back to the podcast, and it is, of course, the Christmas special. In the studio, I have got Harry Charrington, Lewis Porter, and we are joined by the legend that is Simon Crow. We get into lots of topics, what Simon's been up to recently, those green-eyed monsters on the bank, and how Crowie goes about targeting those massive fish. Kick back, relax, and enjoy. It's nice to have those what-ifs, though, isn't it? Still out there. What could be in there? That's the magic of
Rutland Water, where I'm pipe fishing, 3,000 acres.
Yeah.
Years ago, there was stock ponds that had leanies in them back then, but they'd be long dead now. Ant Sylvester will tell you because he was involved in a lot of the work that happened. But when they flooded it and everything, those ponds became part of the lake, because it was a man-made lake. They all flooded in. Those fish were left in there. They all flooded in. They've caught big fish in nets. Fly anglers have caught 30-pounders on flies and that, but there's no carp fishing allowed on there, but it's unknown. It's totally unknown. That fishing exists still in this country. Yeah, it's just. And one day I think
it's the access and the actual having the balls to do it.
And it may come with Rutland because Anglian Water have now done it with Ravensthorpe, which is a smaller trout reservoir. But 2 years ago they set Carp Syndicate up on there now. That's the one where Henry Lennon fished on video where he was like poaching it in the lockdown.
Yeah,
he did a video about that.
Yeah,
and then basically because he kept getting caught poaching it, I think he ended up speaking to the bailiffs and whatever, and from that they thought, well, we may as well actually put a Carp Syndicate on here. And Anglian Water agreed to it, and I think it's done fish to mid 40s. I think since it's opened.
Wow, yeah.
And then so they've got that now. They've got Ardley Reservoir in Essex, which has got a Carp Syndicate on it. Now they've got the one in what's the big one in Suffolk? It's like 400 acres. It's got a road bridge goes over it. Where we were going to film.
It also begins with an A, I think.
Alton
Water.
Can't remember, but they've got that. So they're starting to see, because trout fishing's a dying sport. It costs them. Apparently, I was talking to a guy who knows. It costs them £6 per trout to stock like a £2 stocky. And they're putting like 3,000, like Pittsford last week, they put 3,000 in. So 18 grand they've spent on trout. They're going to die either through natural causes or getting whacked on the head by a guy. Whereas they could stock carp.
Yeah.
And they're just, and other than predation, like nobody's killing them when they catch them. And they could make a lot more money in the future. So I can see it coming to Rutland. It'd be wicked. Yeah. That would be our Cassian or Orient or whatever.
There's plenty of those type of reservoirs, aren't there? Hanningfield and Graffham.
Yeah.
One of the best carp caught in England ever during my time at Carp Talk. And I always talk about this because it gets forgotten about. You see these things on Facebook, top 10 carp from England, and 3 of them from the Car Park Lake, and 2 are from Raisbrins, things like that. Ben Mears, 45-pounder from Scotland.
Oh, sorry, okay. I think you said the best carp from
England. Sorry, UK then. UK, sorry. It's UK.
Yeah.
Change it to
45 pound. Done it up there.
Oh, 200 acre lock. And it was a classic, I say English, he's from Scotland.
British,
Proper classic looking carp. 45 pounds. What a fish.
Yeah.
And it gets forgotten about by so many people. I think he caught it twice, and he always maintains, if you talk to Ben, there's a bigger fish in there than that.
Right.
To me, that's so far north, that climate, wild carp, completely unknown. When we got that on the news desk that time, it was like, wow, what a fish. What a fish.
Yeah, that's a story, isn't it?
At that time, in the 2010, 2012, something like that, I can't remember the exact year, when you thought you knew everything, and there's a Scottish 45-pounder.
Yeah, that lands on your desk. You're like, right, hang on.
Hold
the back page.
That's a Scottish Burfield common all day long, isn't it?
Yeah. Speaking of stocking fish, H, you've been out doing a bit of playing Santa with lakes?
Yeah. So I say every year. Last year we did it. This year we've done it, and hopefully I'm sure we will continue to do it moving forward. We've done the Fox Fish Fund, where we buy sort of £5,000 worth of carp, which generally works out as about 22 doubles, mid doubles. So we bought them from AJS, and we pick a couple of couple of club lakes that do brilliant work in their communities, working with kids, offering kids like free tuitions and free fishing, or really, really cheap fishing, like £5 for a year, that sort of thing. And doing great work wherever they are, and picking those venues that they were recommended to us,
Right.
And stocking the fish in there. So we went to a club in Derby called the Earl of Harrington, which they received 11 fish up to £22. The £22 was kindly donated to us by AJS. So we bought the fish, and they chucked in a £22 as well, and they were absolutely overjoyed. That venue, I fished with Mark Pictures a few years ago. There was a Club Lake film that we made, and Mark actually caught the biggest fish in the lake out there off the top on his first chuck.
That'll do, won't it?
Yeah. So it was like a 24 pounder. Then we went up to Manchester, to the Manchester Angling Club, who they've got a lake there that they offer totally free fishing to kids and serving military personnel and veterans. So totally free fishing to anyone under 16 and anyone who's served in the military, which is absolutely fantastic. And they also received 11 fish, I think up to 16 or 17 pounds. Just like a brilliant day, like to see the guys' faces who have sort of headed up the clubs and
volunteered and stuff.
Volunteered. It's all that I've said it a few times before. Clubs are the backbone of fishing in the country, and it's most of them are not run for profit at all. Yeah, it's people volunteering, doing brilliant stuff, and keeping fishing going right from the grassroots, which is really, really important. So it was a great day. Yeah, absolutely loved it. I know you did it last year, did the stocking. You also said that it's one of the best days of the year. Yeah,
it is a bit like playing Santa.
Yeah, it would be quite, just seeing that everyone's happy.
Yeah, quite appropriate as we're dressed in Christmas jumpers and hats, boiling hot.
It's about 20 degrees in here now.
But yeah, it's great. And are you a member of any angling clubs, Crow?
Not anymore, no.
No?
I used to be. The last club I was a member of was Holland District up in East Yorkshire. Yeah. And I've also been a member, obviously, in the past, Wakefield Angling. A lot of the Yorkshire ones where I live nowadays. But I grew up fishing mostly club waters around the Midlands because that's all you had available to you. There wasn't so many syndicate waters. It was either day ticket waters or club waters, on a little £20 ticket, something like that. There's still a lot of fishing available on them.
Yeah. I saw in the winter you did some fish. Was it last winter on like a little canal?
No, that was on the river, local river. That was, yeah.
Summer.
I never paid for it. I got away with it. The bailiff never came around. I said in the vlog that it was £5 a day, and it is, but he never charged because he never came round.
Yeah.
But that particular stretch of river is open to Doncaster Angling Club and Rotherham Angling Club, and it's only £5 a day, or you can buy a season permit from the local tackle shops for £30. Yeah, I don't think you can night fish, but you can day fish.
Yeah, I'd have been all over something like that as a teenager.
There's some big fish in there as well. Yeah. Since I did that vlog, some of the lads who fish the surrounding area, when it floods, and it's always flooding around there, the local lakes which aren't fenced, they're flooded into the river, and there's apparently a really nice mid-30 mirror just down towards the Rotherham end, which obviously, on a big piece of river like that, it could be anywhere. Yeah. Big fish like that in Yorkshire, mega, for £5 a day.
Yeah.
Or £30 a year, I should say.
Nice. Oh, we are obviously now into winter. Crowie, are you straight through the winter, no messing around still, no breaks? You seem to be pretty full on.
Yeah,
Not like these people who play around with Xander now and perch.
No. I used to do a little bit of everything fishing. I've done it. I grew up fishing for everything, but obviously nowadays it's just carp because that's what I'm completely addicted to. Yeah. So I fish all year round. And this year, Normally I'll go to somewhere in the south of France in the winter time, go and get a bit of sun, a bit of warmth and things like that. It's
Salagu
cold in
last year,
England.
this sort of time, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I was going to go to Salagu this year, but in England this year it's been 15, 16 degrees in December. Fish are getting caught, so I've stayed in England. So I've kind of postponed me foreign fishing until early part of next year.
It's been late, wasn't it? We were saying this when we had Laney on, that he was catching them off the top still in October, wasn't it, to be fair, which is just insane. So it has been sort of a prolonged sort of winter period, or warm period, should I say, going into winter. I only mentioned the Zander because I know Lou's been out playing around with lures and plugs and all that.
No
rest
lure
of it.
fishing.
No.
That's too much effort. Dead bait indeed. I bob about in a boat on a big reservoir, drowning mackerel and herrings and smelt, and I've had no pike, but I've had a zander and a brown trout, an 8-pound brown trout and a half a mackerel.
Bloody
So,
hell.
yeah.
Is that you now through the? This is what your carp rods are away now. You're into the sergeants and the crocodiles, I suppose.
It's just mainly pike, really.
Yeah.
I'm not so bothered about the perch. I might do a bit of perch fishing, but it's mainly the pike. I just like it because it's day fishing.
Yeah.
Go for the day, come home, still got another day of the weekend to do stuff, and then you're still getting your fishing fix.
You get like I say, you're getting that fix out of the way and done.
And I find that I'm then charged up, ready to go hard in the spring when the carp are really having it. I don't want any handicaps.
It's a fair weather angler.
Yeah, massively. I take my hat off to. I'm not going to take my hat off because it's Christmas. I'll keep it on. But to people like Crowie, who does fish all winter, and he there's no doubt. I think nearly every winter I've known him, you've always come out of the winter having felt it's worthwhile because you've caught enough fish to feel like it was worthwhile. But it's a lot of graft for what you get back when you can do half the amount of graft and catch 3 times as many fish in the spring. Yeah. So for me, it's like, I don't know. I'd rather run with the wind behind me than the wind into my face. So I'll just wait until the days that the wind's blowing in the right direction when I go for a run. Same with the fishing.
That's
with
a good
carp
analogy.
fishing.
I like that.
That's not like you either, Crow.
Did you know that wind assisted records don't count?
Yes.
You are speaking to the man who apparently, I think I had this right. Isn't it true you had a 5-season sleeping bag and then a 3-season inside the 5-season?
Yeah, when I went to fish in Wales, I went to Wales in the really early spring, right up in I can't pronounce the lake. It's that one that Bartlett and Kev Hewitt have fished.
Yes.
Yeah. Flanicanty, whatever it's called. It's right up in some mountains in Wales. It was Baltic, and I wasn't sure how cold it was going to be because when you leave your house in England and you've got a 5-hour drive to get there, you have no idea. So I took the 5-season bag and I took the 3-season bag because you don't want to be. Anyway, so I ended up, it was that cold, I put the 3-season bag inside the 5-season bag and put the thermal cover over the top. Jesus. And that was snug as fuck. I was so comfy and cozy.
That's actually a good point to hit on. Like, Crowie, you are out all winter. How do you stay warm and stay motivated for it?
Stay motivated. I just don't struggle with motivation. I just don't. Certain things.
It's a job for you though as well, isn't it? Like you love it, but also you don't have pressure. Like I don't think Avid and DNA aren't like saying you must fish every week. But I think you feel a personal obligation because it is your job that you should be out there doing it in all weathers all year as well. Like I know you love it, but also like I think. I know, obviously I'm not trying to talk for you, but I get the impression for you, like when you're getting in the car and drive into the lake, you're going to work as well. You're not a full-timer bum angler who signs on the dole and just wastes their life on the bank. You're going because you enjoy it, but also because it's what you've made your career out of as well.
Yeah. I've done it for so long. It's part of my life. It's like certain things in life that you find easy or comfortable, a certain pathway that you find that's my route. And rather than, you're getting messages, that's the wrong route for you. For me, in life, fishing's just part of me. It's something I do. It's something I've always done, even before it was my job. Go back to the days of Carp when I worked in an office for 4 or 5 days a week. They'll tell you what I was like. As soon as I'd finished the office, gone down the lake. That's how my life was. It cost me my first marriage. It cost me, I'm married again with my now with Lucy, but she seems to enjoy me being away. So it's just a part of me. You know what I mean? Our relationship's on the phone, but it's hey, darling, all right. But it's just part of me. It's just something I do, and I just love it. So, don't get me wrong. There are some times when, if I've had a tough week and you're not caught anything, when I used to have a dog and I was fishing with Bo, my old dog, and she'd been in the mud and she's on the bed chair and you're not catching anything, and then some bloke rocks up and has one straight away and you're like, I've made the wrong swim choice and stuff like that. It does get to you, but all in all, honestly, I absolutely love it. And the only person I know throughout my whole fishing career who I've ever met who is exactly the same as me is Briggsy, Steve Briggs. He's exactly the same. There's just something about fishing that he just loves. You could chop his arms off, his legs off, Briggsy will be going fishing. Yeah, and I'm pretty much the same.
Yeah.
It is my job, but it's kind of become my job because of the way I am. It's not because I'm a great angler. It's because he knows that I'm going to go out all the time fishing. And that's the kind of thing you want from somebody.
What do you do? So this time of year, it's dark at 4 o'clock. And it's not light again until 7 o'clock at the minute, something like that. Yeah. So what do you do in that dark period before you go to bed? Like what do you do? How do you, like?
I think that is probably people.
What fills your you
get on the phone to the wife.
You've come from the bank with that. You've fished the last 2 or 3 nights and you've come straight to the podcast from fishing. So last night, what did you do before you went to bed once it got dark?
4 o'clock, obviously, you have your dinner or your tea and stuff like that as it's going dark. I've made sure my rods are okay. I'm then going to sit down and have my dinner, sit there and put podcasts on, listen to podcasts while I'm sat there doing whatever. And time just goes, it just goes past. I wouldn't say there's a routine or anything. I wouldn't say there's anything that I specifically do. Recently my mum's been not very well, so I've been spending a lot of time on the phone with my sister, sorting things out with her, sorting things out with my mum. And, time just passes. And then you've got your mates from the lake ringing up who aren't fishing.
Yeah,
what's happening on the lake?
Yeah.
Is anybody catching anything? And then this time of the year, you tend to end up speaking to 3 or 4 guys for an hour each.
And what time would you go to sleep, roughly?
Well, last night I went bed a little bit early because I had to set off early to get here because I was in North Yorkshire. So I was up at 4 o'clock this morning. I went to bed about, 8, 9 o'clock yesterday. But I'm always, this is one thing my wife always kills me for, is because I'm not at home and I'm not walking the dog and I'm not doing this, I always get 7 or 8 hours good sleep every night. So, it just goes, it just passes. So I can't explain.
You're not like a religious rig tire or anything.
No. God, no, definitely not one of them. When I see them pictures on social media and these lads with 100 rigs tied up, that's not me.
That's what I use winter sessions for, sorting myself out for the rest of the year. I'm like, right, it's dark now. I can get everything done for the rest of the year.
Do you read a book?
No
book reading.
No. Watch podcasts, listen to podcasts. My whole TV thing nowadays is all YouTube and Prime TV, Netflix. I don't watch normal news, BBC, or ITV, anything. None of that kind of stuff. So I just pick and choose what I want to watch.
Yeah, football. Do you follow the football?
Sometimes I do, mate. Yeah. I come from a footballing family, though I was useless, but my family's whole topic of conversation is about football. So I find myself talking about stuff that I'm not really interested in. I ain't into football really, but my mum especially, she's really into it. So I can spend an hour or so talking to her about what's going on, Man United and things. But no,
go on, Mrs. Crow.
I'm always it just passes. The time just passes because I just love it. Love being out.
Fair play. To be fair, mate, I've been watching a lot of your YouTube videos that you make and you film and you edit. One thing I've noticed more than any other is how honest you are in there about when it doesn't go right and there is blanks, and that's the reality of fishing. Do you think there should be more of that in angling? Because I've seen it firsthand. When I used to have the tackle shop, they'd watch the latest video on a certain venue. I'm going to do that. They go, they blank, they lose heart, they lose interest, and they sort of fade away. You always try and keep it real by putting in, it didn't work out. Do you think there should be more of that across the board from the bigger brands? Is that something
I wouldn't say that they don't do it, because I've seen quite a few films where people have blanked and what have you, but
you do also see, I won't name names, I don't want to cause grief for people, but there's certain anglers that I know, well-known anglers, who you don't see them posting on social media at all when they're blanking.
Yeah.
They'll have one session where they'll catch a few, and then they will drip feed those fish over a period of time to cover the time when they're blanking, rather than tell people about the blanks. it makes people look. It looks like they're catching all the time when they're having periods of success and failure, which most anglers or all anglers, nobody catches all the time, do they? No. And I think that's what you were sort of saying there, Dean, isn't it? Like show the
reality
down,
of it,
show the downs, because that's what makes the catches even more better when you do catch, doesn't it? So
I mean, you can be whatever you want to be now on social media, can't you? Anyway, if you want to be a racing driver, you just go and take a load of pictures of helmets and race tracks, and then straight away you got if you're a nice looking person, you can end up with 1 million followers or whatever. So you can definitely do what you want to do and paint your own image on social media without a doubt, but. I've done films. I did a film a couple of years ago where I caught 5, but the guy who was leading the film didn't catch, so the film never came out. So there are people that don't want to admit that they blank. There are people that's like that in the fishing industry. There are, and I know, but it's a real thing. It's a real thing. Most of us blank more than we catch, unless you fish one of these stock ponds every day. And you're like, a machine catching one after another, getting runs, which is not really a challenge. But, at the end of the day, what is a challenge to anybody? It's all about what you enjoy. So I'm not knocking that style of fishing. But the reality is that most people do go and blank. It's a part of carp fishing. And we all love to catch. It's a big part of it. But we don't just go to catch, do we? We go to enjoy time away from, not for me because it's my job, but it used to be just to get away from the stresses of normal life, get away from from the missus and all that sort of stuff. Not that my wife's like that, but it's that kind of thing. The just getting away. It's your escapism, isn't it? Fishing is, and that's what it should be.
To quote Hutchie, stop and smell the roses.
Definitely.
It's that side of things.
If you want to go and have a social, you see these things now on social media. We're having a social at this lake and stuff like that. Fishing is whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
And I do blank because of the nature of the lakes that I fish. And it's a part of it, and I've never hidden behind any kind of false screen. To a certain extent, I think if you ask me a question, is there anything within my own fishing career that I'd change? I probably would change the way that I've ran my social media to a certain extent, because I see some people nowadays who've run it in the right way, that they have built an image of themselves that they are. It's not necessarily, true. Whereas I've tried to be real, but to a certain extent, being real sometimes has probably kicked me in the teeth as well, and not allowed me to.
You wouldn't want to be a bullshit fake person.
No, I couldn't be like that. But
surely,
but I know full well that it's by being the way I am, it stopped me getting to certain places. It stopped me getting on certain venues or whatever because of my image or whatever. Because I'm quite. I say it as it is. If you say it as it is, sometimes people are a bit sort of, Crowie's a bit like that.
You could have made yourself a bit more
I could give him a bit.
Yeah.
Because I've given him a bit over the years, Chili. Have you ever fished for wrong-uns, Chili? I'll give him a bit of that. Yeah, come on, have a discussion with me about it then, mate.
But I've got first-hand experience because you joined a lake that I had a ticket for, and then I don't fish anymore, but I helped you get the ticket originally with a winter ticket and that. Won't name it.
You've helped me get a few tickets over there.
Yeah. But I remember some of my friends and other guys on the lake were like, "Oh, I've heard that Simon Crow's. I've heard this about him, I've heard that about him, and everything." And it's like he ain't like you've like.
That's the worst thing, Lou. And I've heard this.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a
Luckily, the people
saying,
who run that particular lake, the Foundry, those guys who run that, they'll make their own minds up. They won't listen to somebody's bullshit opinion about somebody. That, like, if anything, like Dave in particular, he kind of gets off on the fact of, if somebody's apparently a bit of a live wire, he'll think, I'll let them on because I like the challenge of dealing with a live wire sort of thing. So they don't listen to the people that are trying to put a bad word in or whatever. But there was members that were like, I've heard this about him, heard about him. I said, all you need to know about him is that there won't be anybody else on the lake that tries harder than him. Yeah. Like, he catches his fish not through like underhand methods. It's just because when he's there, he tries harder than anybody. He will move, he will work hard, and he will catch loads of fish. You won't see somebody chucking out fang-dangled rigs and all that bullshit. He just does good, solid angling. And then within a few weeks of him being on that particular lake, all my mates are like, fucking hell, you're right about him. He's fucking unbelievable. He's moving swims multiple times. He's trying really, he's grafted. And so, I think you being you definitely gets perceptions, but I think also if people give you the opportunity, then that perception, most people would rather do business with, be friends with, be roommates with, whatever, real people that rather than bullshit.
I guess that's part of being a name sponsored angler, consultant, whatever you want to call it, is if you're trying to get on places, there's always going to be people who are going to go, he catches a few, doesn't he? So maybe I'll try and make sure he doesn't get on.
Yeah. This will lead me on to your latest film that I watched this week about why do people go fishing or for the wrong reasons. Can you sort of elaborate a little bit more what happened on that lake? Or
I can. Yeah. Some bloke couldn't catch anything, and I was catching a few, and he didn't like it. He didn't like it, and
it's mad. It blows my head that because I'm the same as you. When I watched it, as you were talking, it's like I'm buzzing to see a fish on the bank. Whoever, it's just nice to see. If it's one of the big uns, like some people, it ruins their year. That's it. They pack, they go home. That's it. They're done. And I'm like, you've just seen your target fish. Yeah, you're not holding it. But go and congratulate the guy who has, and be part of being on the bank. Even taking the photo of that is a privilege, isn't it? In my eyes, absolutely. I just can't get my head around people who think like that. Yeah. We're all part of the same, for want of a word, a brotherhood, if you like, or a sister. Collectively, we're all there to do the same thing. And it is such a shame you have these sort of green-eyed monsters on the bank, I suppose you'd call them.
But I think people that are like that don't quite understand what carp fishing is about, though, because carp fishing, the longer you've been around carp fishing, the more you realise that today Lewis is going to catch more than us, tomorrow Harry's going to catch more than us, then it's your turn.
Not a chance.
Then
sorry,
it's my
Crowie.
turn.
I'm sorry. I draw the line. Yes, one day I will, Harry. That day, sorry,
He's
Dean.
a carp catching machine.
Yeah.
You are an all Wiggins, you know that.
Sorry, no, that's not happening with Dean. So
Harry, sort out a Lewis versus with me. We'll sort this out in the spring.
I'd actually love to see that.
Don't challenge him on anything.
No, I wouldn't take him on.
No, I'd just be the adjudicator.
Do you remember the Marshall's Challenge we used to do? Young Carp Championships.
Yeah.
He's like a dark horse.
Like a million press ups.
He's a dark horse, mate.
That was a few years ago now. I don't think I'll be able to do quite
There's
as
no
many.
way Harry's going to win this. My God, Harry's won it by a straight mile. He's as fit as a fiddle, this boy. And the carp catching machine as well.
But so I haven't seen... Forgive me for not watching the video. I haven't seen the video. So what was the video about?
It was more to do, like I'm doing weekly vlogs now.
You've got two YouTube channels now, haven't you? You've got your main one, what you do, your session style long videos. You've got the second one, and this video was on your second channel, which is more like
just what's happening this week. What's happening this week, and sometimes I might interview somebody. Another time I might walk around a lake and show the different swims. Some weeks I might talk about a topical issue or something like that. I've only been doing it for about half a year so far, but you try and do things every week. It's actually quite difficult, and you're sitting there thinking, what should I talk about this week? Well, I basically just went for a walk with the dog, turned the camera on and just recorded, and then got home, looked at it and thought, can I put that out? And I thought, I can put that out. It sounds like I'm moaning a little bit and whinging about it, but I think most people can relate with it, is that you go fishing sometimes on some lakes, and carp fishing's full of so many wonderful people. There's so many, all my best mates, there's so many lovely, 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 lovely people in carp fishing. 99.9999% of people are wonderful, but every now and again you come across this one bloke who is just out and out you're having it today. And he's going to do everything he possibly can to blacken your name, to call hell out of you, slag you off, do anything that he possibly can. And, last week, it didn't just happen to me, it happened to a few of us, because he was having it with anybody who was catching fish. You were all having it. And, and he tried to cause problems. And, it's just how fishing is. Some of these people don't know what goes on in the brain. They just sit there. They cannot see somebody catch fish and them not catch anything. And
can you imagine being that person, being at home and getting so angry that somebody else is having success and you're not?
I don't get it, mate. Don't get it. Don't get it.
You feel you need to hatch a plan now to stop you doing it. That's mind-bending.
It's mad, isn't it? Yeah. It's mad. How could you actually, think that guy's caught a fish that you want, So what? So it's a fish, isn't it? You know, you're going to go next week. You're going to put the rods out and you're going to go and catch it. That's how it is. That's fishing all along. I've never been jealous of any. Probably with Hughesy, because Hughesy is my mate, innit? You know, you're fishing with him and he's like, "Hi, I'm better than you." You're having it because that's how he is. He wind me up sometimes. And one of his podcasts that he did with you, like I watched it, thought, right, you're having it, you.
Yeah, you did proper go for it. Yeah,
I did one about him.
We'll get onto that in a little bit for you, Simon. We'll give you your right to reply on it.
On that.
You know, if with your friends, you might have a little friendly rivalry. You know, he catches one and you haven't caught anything. But honestly, most of the times I go fishing, it's just about being there and just
I love being on the other side of the camera, watching the person enjoy. Like I love it. Like
that moment.
Connor, who works here in the office, is one of the product designers. We went out for dinner after work last night. He's then gone to at like 7, 8 o'clock last night in the dark. He's then driven to his Syndicate Lake to do an overnighter before he comes back to work this morning. And I've said to him, "You catch that big common, ring me. I'm there before this podcast. I'm there first thing in the morning or in the middle of the night, whatever. I want to see, you know, to see him buzzing on the effort he's made to go there, set up in the dark, put his rods out. He catches a 55-pound common.
Yeah,
but that's why we all watch fishing videos, because you hope that at the end they catch a big one and they're absolutely buzzing. Like the video that we just put out the other day with Mike, where he catches his PB and he is just like shaking with excitement. That's what it's about.
Those special moments, isn't it? You know, that carp might only get caught once every year, every 2 years or something like that, and it's his moment. It's that lad's moment with that fish.
I watched it. I can't remember what I watched the other day. My memory is terrible, but it was a video where somebody was there when somebody caught a really special fish, and the other person picked the fish up on the mat and said to the captor, "Have a look at this."
No, this was Pictures' story the other day. Yeah.
Oh, when he was in Belgium.
Yeah, it's on a podcast that we haven't released yet. No, it was when it is. Well, if we tell the story, then that's the story that is coming out on a future podcast. But it was Pictures' story at the Manor when he caught the Annie.
And the guys, I say my memory is terrible. I just remember that's the sentiment of what a cool thing that is. If you've just caught the big one, you don't ever see it from that perspective until you look back at your photo or some video, do you? Yeah. You're looking at it on the mat and what have you. So for the guy to pick it up and then say to Crowie, look at what you've just caught, and you're looking at it from that to really, I just thought that was cool. That's obviously somebody who's really enjoyed that person's capture and is pleased for them. I just think, I just don't understand. There was one guy, I'm not going to mention him because I don't want to cause loads of grief or whatever. I just remember he was so serious and angry when people caught his target fish. And he's fished a lot of really good places, St Ives, the Woolpack, Elstow, loads of and he's a really good angler. He catches plenty of fish, and maybe that ruthlessness inside him makes him a successful angler to a degree. Yeah. But there's a line between being ruthless and just being a prick to people.
Yeah. I think if you're one of these people, Lou, you need to have a look in the mirror and think, readdress how your mindset is. You really
I've got to tell this story, and if it means he falls out with me and calls me so, right.
Typical Lou.
I'm going to try and tell it in a way that I don't make him realise it's him, but there's no two ways about it.
Throw that grenade,
right.
Mate.
So, fuck it. So Lee Walton is walking around the caravan park lake at the time when the big linear was still alive, and he bumps into this angler who he's known for many, many years, because when Lee was at DEADBAITS, this angler used the DEADBAITS bait, so they'd had a relationship, not mates as such, but acquaintances for many years. Sits with him for an hour or two, drinking tea, chewing the fat, because, it's a small syndicate, we're all in it together. Lee goes on his way. A week later, Lee catches this common, and the matey comes into his swim. And he's like, 30, whatever, and he's like, oh, yeah. We had that last week. And he went, oh, really? He went, yeah. He said, you didn't, when did you have it? He was like, Friday. He was like, oh, I was sat with you on Saturday. He's like, yeah, I had that and I had another 38. Oh, you never mentioned it. He went, well, you never asked. He's like, oh, it's like that, is it? Okay, now we know. Week or two later, Lee catches the 50-pound linear. I went and photographed it for him. Again, I was in York fishing with Alexi Bygrave. I drove 2 hours
in a BCAC
British
match.
Carp Championship qualifier at Portbridge. Drove back to Peterborough because that was incredible moment to share, to see that fish, see Lee buzzing, etc. So he has it. Fantastic. He lets a couple of the members know who he's friends with. Doesn't tell this guy. This guy goes to the NutraBaits warehouse to go and pick his bait up from Bill Cottam. Bill's like, what about Lee then, with that fish? What fish? That big linear. What? Yeah, he had it. He had it last week. Mate, his life has just, his whole soul's just, I can imagine, because I know how angry he gets, would just fall out. So then he's sitting like, you never told me you've had that big linear. And he just went, you never asked.
Class.
Yeah.
Oh, well done.
And I just think, why would you just, you'll get your chance. I'm a big believer in karma.
You are, mate,
I'm a massive believer in karma. Do you believe in karma,
Yeah,
Crow?
I do, mate. Yeah, and you've just summed it up, mate. Yeah. You're going to get back in this game what you're giving out. And often I talk to a lot of lads on some lakes because, you go to some lakes and I ask you information. You all give me information, and there's one guy over there, he doesn't give you anything back. Well, he's not going to get anything back. And if he's going to get anything back, he's going to get the wrong stuff back. So, you sow what you
reap what you sow,
Yeah, reap what you sow.
You won't remember this. I've known you a long, long time.
Yeah. How do you know I won't remember? I'm not going to mention it.
I don't think you will remember. You won't, it was a bit of a passing comment.
He has never told me it, that's why.
No.
Yeah. And he's got a ridiculous memory.
For long-term stuff, not short-term, but I can remember a lot of useless stuff. Many years ago, I was fishing a lake in Peterborough, and a guy from Yorkshire started fishing it, called Ian Bruce.
Oh, yeah,
who's like a Yorkshire legend, had had 30s in Yorkshire before all these, stocked fish in the modern times were there. And he started fishing on the lakes where I was fishing, and you said, watch old Brucey, he's old school. If he tells you he's seen fish up that end, they'll be up the other end, right? So I meet him, and he's a real nice guy. And he says, I've seen a couple of fish show down there. I went, I'm going to go and fish up the other end. He went, what are you doing that? I said, I've been told about you. I said, if you've said they're up that end, they're up that end. He went, fuck you know.
He's like that though, Bruce. Great angler. Nice bloke as well.
Just reminded me that though.
Yeah. I think you have told me that story before.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that is Brucey.
Love that. I love it. Crowie, I want to get into, like I say, you've done your fair share of targeting big fish, and I want to get into how you caught ButtHead.
Okay.
And get into that story. But I want to get into what a lot of people have been asking on the syndicate is, how do you go about targeting big fish? Is there a certain method you use? Is there a certain information you start to pull before you get to that venue? How do you go about, homing in on that target fish you want?
It's all about, for me, knowing that fish, knowing that target carp, understanding carp. And I do think that we're in an age of carp fishing nowadays where certainly a lot of newcomers that are in the game, they ain't really interested in knowing carp. They want to know everything about a rig, everything about a bait, and that's all they're interested in. And many years ago, I can relate this to when we did Carping On show with Angler Publications, and I think it was either the first or the second show that we ever did, and we came up with the idea, the girls did, who organised it, and they consulted with the people in the office. Let's have a rig stand, let's have a bait stand, and then let's have an understanding carp stand. You have the rig gurus, the bait gurus, and the carp men. I can't remember who it was who looked after the understanding carp stand. But basically, at the end of the show, they'd agreed to never have the understanding carp stand because the rig stand had 100 people around it.
Yeah.
The bait stand had 100 people around it, and the understanding carp stand had no one around it.
Yeah.
Because carp anglers, certainly the newcomers, don't want to know about understanding carp. And I've always been of the opinion that, if you're trying to catch a particular thing, you need to know everything you possibly can about it. My whole life has been about carp fishing. So when I went to university, I did fisheries. My final thesis was about carp, understanding carp. I always wanted to know every single thing about carp. And as I sort of made my steps in the trade, got to know people like Rod Hutchinson and Kevin Clifford, who are absolute encyclopedias about carp. They know everything about them. Rod might not have been in he was in his twilight years when I got to know him, but his knowledge of carp and his understanding of carp was exceptional. And he always turned around to me, Rod did, and said that targeting carp is get to know your target fish, understand your target carp. And I could relate with it. I could understand with it. I can't relate with these videos when you've got these guys trying to sell you 20 products on a rig. What happens is the carp does this and it turns around, it twists around, it goes around, and I'm like, I can't relate with it, you know. But a carp has got a daily routine, where it will be in certain times of the day, even to going back to the days of when Redmere Pool, you know, the old carp catchers club used to write about carp fishing in the beginning years. They talked about Redmere Pool, how the carp migrated from one end of the lake to the other end of the lake, depending on whether it was day or night. In the night time, they'd be down at the dam end, and in the daytime, you'd watch them just trundling down towards the shallows end. And the first time I fished Redmere, that's the first thing I saw. So it was many years on from the Carp Catchers Club, and I watched these carp doing exactly the same thing that Dick Walker, Fred J. Taylor, all the old guys from the Carp Catchers Club said about the carp in Redmere. And obviously, I think it was about 2001, 2002 when I first fished at Redmere. But there's many, many years of carp fishing from being a young kid to there. It helped me understand carp a little bit better. But that's the best example I can give, is that, you know, 40 years previous, the carp were doing the same thing in that lake to when I was on there. And if you get to know your target fish, you'll get to know whether it gets caught from that swim, all around the lake or whatever. You know, places like the Orient in France, 6,000 acres in size. There used to be a carp in there that was called the Bulldozer, and it only ever got caught from one area of the lake. It got seen other areas of the lake, 6,000 acres of water, but it only ever got caught in Gerardo Bay.
Soon becomes a small lake when it's
soon becomes
like
a small
that,
lake, mate. You know, and even at the other opposite end of the scale, you've got somewhere like Withy Pool, which is about 2 acres in size. I remember when I went on there, Kevin Maddox owned it at the time, and he said to me, there was a fish in there that was called the 40, which was the big one. He said, if you want to see the 40, just go around to that bush there, and there's a little hole at the back, it'll be sat there. And every day I went to Withy Pool, it was there. That was its spot, in that one particular hole. Yeah. And then he said, the time that it's not in that spot is when you can catch it, because it's around the lake, it's wandering around, and it's having a feed, picking at spots. But then when it's back in that bush, it's always at the back, and it's pushing the other carp out. That's its own little place. So if you get to know the carp that you're trying to catch, it can help you catch fish. Yeah. You know, Rob Hughes calls it pattern spotting when he does his England matches and his carp matches. He's trying to watch for patterns, and it's the same with carp. If you can know certain patterns, there's no guarantee that you're going to catch a target fish. But if you try and put the percentages in your favour, use a rig that perhaps you've got confidence in, use a bait you've got confidence in, use a bait maybe that you know that fish as an inclination to getting caught from, falling for, like a fish meal bait or a birdseed bait or whatever. If you know some knowledge that it's been caught,
you hear that a lot, don't you? Oh, it likes a boilie, that one. Or it lives there.
It likes a pink one. So all you're doing is you look. You might find one guy who's caught it on a yellow, but if you find more people that's caught it on a pink, well, you think, well, okay, I'll go towards that. That's sort of
stacking the odds in your favour.
Yeah, stacking your odds in your favour. That's what all I ever do with target fish. Whenever I go to a lake, I don't want to know what the biggest fish is. I don't want to know the highest weight. I don't want to know who's the best angler, what's the best swim or anything like that. I want to know about that fish that I'm trying to target. Does it get caught from a particular spot more than others? Does it get caught more in the day, more in the night?
You blew my mind. I saw you a few weeks ago, and I'm similar to you. Like, for me, you if you're trying to target a fish, everything you can know about it, the better, because you're trying to put like you say, you're putting the odds in your favour. And I thought I was pretty good at that. I thought I'm not a very good angler, but I thought that's one of my strengths, is that ability to hatch a plan to catch a fish. And when I spoke to you a few weeks ago, you was asking me about a particular fish at the foundry. I'd said to you the one they call Lucky, which is like the biggest fish in the lake now, I think. And I'd said about how I'd been there in October when Lee Brooks had caught it from the double swim. And your first question was, what time did he have it? I'm thinking, fucking hell, it's like 5-6 years ago. What the fuck does that matter? And you're like, what time did he have it? Was it after 12:30 or something? I was like, yeah. And you were like, oh, I've been winding in to go for a run at that time. I'm missing my chance. And I'm thinking, fucking really? Like you're thinking about it to that level of detail that if you want, and I'm thinking fair play, like that's why you're doing what you do and why I don't do it. I can't make a living from going catching fish. But unbelievable.
You catch your fair share of big uns, mate.
But
you do.
But like I've never really like I wouldn't be thinking to it that to level of degree about time.
Anal,
swim, you know, particles over boilies. I'd be thinking to that level, but the time I was thinking, geez, that is like really.
But that is what most carp anglers do, though, mate. Is they will. You've just said it's you know, it's tactics you're looking at. You're looking at tactics, particles, boilies, rig, pop up, bottom bait. I will look at other aspects. You know, is it a night feeder? Is it a daytime feeder? You can on some lakes specifically target a certain time. I did it many years ago on Manton Old Lake, Nev Ficklin's Old Lake in North Lincolnshire. There was a fish in there that I wanted to target. It was called Arnie, and it was about mid-40s, 45, 46 pounds, something like that. And when I first went on that lake, I'd try to get as much data as I could about when it gets caught, that fish. What time of the year does it get caught from? And I knew that it was quite a difficult fish to catch. It was quite random captures. It'd always get caught in the spring, it'd always get caught in the winter, it would always get caught in the day or the night. It'd just suddenly just appear. It was a really weird fish. But one thing I did look at, the catch data, is that the majority of the captures was in the middle of the afternoon. Middle of the afternoon when I'd normally be at work at Carp Talk. So I was like, at that time, I was like, oh my God, how do I target that fish? Because I need to be in the office during the day. And thankfully I had flexi time. So anal stuff, completely anal stuff. And this is before I was even a full-time carp angler. I was a sponsored carp angler, but I was working in an office. I would basically make sure I wasn't in the office during that small window of opportunity, and I was on the lake. And I ended up catching it during that 2-hour window, which is like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, in the middle of July. And those days, Bev will tell you, when I was at Carp Talk, I'd go to the office first thing in the morning, do about 4 hours of work, leave for a couple of hours, and then go back to the office and do another 3 or 4 hours of work, then go home or go back to the lake.
So you're just fishing in that small window.
I did the same on Drax as well, Power Station Lake there. I only had a day book. But I found out that the first thing in the morning, from first light to about 11 o'clock in the morning, was the best time. So I only went to that lake for that 4 or 5 hours, and I caught the ones that I wanted.
Do you always have to have a target on the lakes that you're fishing? Is that what really keeps you motivated?
Not really, mate. No, I've found, I'm a little bit older than you guys, so maybe if Chili was here, he could probably relate with it. I've found you go through different stages of your life where you want different things from it. You know, as you get older, I'm a different angler to when I was younger. And when I first came into carp fishing, it was all about just getting bites. Me and Yuzi just went from venue to venue. We were a couple of noddies, because back in them days, carp fishing was only about catching big fish. And we came on the scene and we was just want to, I've had 2, how many have you had? I've had 3. I want to get, you know, you want to catch more than him. You know, that competitiveness of being a young angler when you've got a little bit of an ego about you. We just wanted to get bites. And that's how we ended up getting into the trade, is through doing articles on different venues. Because back in them days, it was no publicity. You never told anybody about where you was fishing. It was all undisclosed venues. And we wanted to open Carp World and have a bit of information about where you could go fishing. So when I first started in the trade, it was about bites. And then I went into the carp match scene with Rob. You know, I did quite a lot of carp match fishing, but I no interest in that anymore. You know, and nowadays I am more interested in catching target fish. I'd rather have one absolute whacker throughout the course of the whole year than 10,000 fish, even if they all weighed 30 pounds, 40 pounds. If that one whacker is a 50 or a 60, I'd rather have that one
moment, that one,
that one special moment.
Yeah.
We talk about this a lot on some of the lakes that I fish, because, you know, that day so-and-so's had 5 or 6 fish. You know, oh God, he's had 5 or 6 fish. Yeah, but at the end of the year, nobody remembers that. They only ever remember that absolute whacker. You know, it's like, who's the British carp champions at the minute? I don't know. Who's the British record holder? Dean Fletcher. If everybody, you know, knows who's caught the big fish, but not everybody knows about, you know, who's caught the most fish today or whatever. It's well, maybe I'm not speaking for the majority there, but you know, certainly of my generation, most people remember the big uns.
Yeah. And that kind of can quite easily lead us on to ButtHead, because I know
it's a horrible name, isn't it?
Yeah, it's such a shame, because it is. Yeah, can we call it something else?
You can't rename a fish. When I was fishing for it, a lot of the lads on the lake was thinking about changing its name, even though you can't change its name, to AJ. Because it's AJS Fisheries.
Yeah.
And at the time, Anthony Joshua was the heavyweight champion of the world. So, but you can't...
Let's call it the Girton
You
Common.
can't change the name of a fish, can you,
It's
really?
equally as good as the Burfield Common, so let's call it the Girton Common.
But anyway, you've gone there to fish on a lake that had hundreds and hundreds of carp, maybe 1,000 carp,
Yeah, a lot
maybe
of carp in them,
a
yeah.
lot of carp in, but it's got this one 60-pound unreal common.
Yeah.
How did you target that?
Pretty much in the same way that I've just explained. He's trying to know as much as you can about that fish, trying to know its patterns, its daily routine. And I'd been a member of the lake for, I can't remember, 5 or 6 years prior to when I caught it. And during that 5 or 6 years, I knew a little bit about the patterns of that fish. It's the one carp in the lake that doesn't get caught much at all. It goes missing for 18 months, then it'll do a capture. Then it'll go missing for a couple of years and it'll do a couple of captures. It's one of those kind of fish. And I'd only ever seen it on one occasion and prior to me catching it, and that was when it was in one of the bays and it was on its own.
Alone.
I saw it on its own. It was, wow. And just by looking at the catch data of that fish, it was generally, not always, it was caught somebody had one bite and it was that fish.
Yeah.
Apart from one guy who caught it in the spring, and I think he had a couple of free fish when they were getting ready to spawn. But most of the captures of it was just one guy butted.
So did you in your mind's eye you had so many swims where you thought, yeah, these are the 5 or 6 swims it's going to do, I'm going to have the fish from? Did you ever turn up and those were all gone, you thought, I might as well go home because I'm not going to get them from the other ones? Was it to that point? Or
not on Girton, but I have done on some lakes where you thought, not really got a chance today, but I wouldn't go home. Go fishing, on those occasions. But with Girton, it's a big lake. It's 70 acres. It's not a small puddle. It's a big lake, and there's a lot of volume of water as well. There's depths down to about 40 foot. So you're talking about a really big piece of water, and it had a lot of stockfish in there, which had been flooded out from the nearby Cove Lake into the main Girton Lake. And those stockfish generally, it's all about generalising. You'll always get one blow. Well, it wasn't like that when I was on there. But generally, those fish hung around together. And if you fished down the bottom end, is what they call the open bowl end of the lake, you'd find all of those stockfish. Somebody go down there, like a guy who only goes fishing once a month, and fish on those stockfish, and you might catch 4 or 5 carp in a day. He's had a great day's fishing, up to mid-30s. Yet I wasn't interested in fishing for those stockfish because I knew that ButtHead was a loner. He wanted to be away from those fish. He didn't like hanging around with those fish. So it's understanding that fish in it, really. Yeah. And get to know what it's like. And I kind of knew that it had done 2 or 3 captures in that middle part of the lake on its own at that time of the year. So I hedged my bets in that. And it is always hedging your bets because that's all you're doing. You're spinning the wheel, ain't you? And hoping it turns up right for you.
But one thing some people do is, after success, they then make up that they had a plan to do something to make themselves look and sound great. Yeah. But you were open that was your plan. You were fishing that swim because you wanted to catch that fish. It wasn't like after you've caught it, you've gone, I purposely didn't want to catch a lot during the campaign because I was fishing that. Like, you were purposely not trying to catch loads of fish because you wanted that one, wasn't you?
Yeah. I'd done a Facebook live feed at the time with Avid that evening. Yeah. Where we had to do a 24-hour period where Ant, who was the brand manager at the time, said to me, Crowie, can you do as a live feed if you're fishing on Girton? Not a live feed, but one of these 24 hours, just post random pictures about what you're doing.
And on your stories, yeah.
And I started it. I ain't going to catch much, guys, because I'm trying to catch one fish. So what do you want me to talk about? And I basically said, let's talk a bit about target carp fishing, and you're targeting a carp. And I got, because I was there for about 5 days before I caught it, I'd actually put a 2-week period aside where I was going to be on the lake for 2 weeks fishing for that fish. And I'd done 5 days into the session. And I had guys walking past, any good Crowie? Nah. And then they go, I had 5 today to 35 down the other end. You're like, all right, okay. Next one I'd drive past, any good Crowie? I've had 6 today. I'm like, no, I haven't had anything. And you're sitting there thinking, shit, mate, I bet they think I'm a complete useless.
Did you feel you were getting closer though? Did you have that?
No, I thought I was pissing in the wind. You're sitting there, you've got this plan in your head, and you watch me Facebook stories at the time, and I'm sat there like with my feet propped up against the door, and it just weirdly happened because the weather changed.
Yeah.
The weather changed and it started shifting from, I was like in the middle part of the lake, and it's a long, thin lake, Gurtney's. So you've got the southern end and you've got the northern end, and I was like in the middle. And the weather completely changed from whatever to blowing absolutely beautiful southerly winds straight up the lake, warm. Oh, I've got to take my jumper off, you sat there and it was that light trickle of rain that you get. And you just know from being around carp fishing for so long, this is pretty good, this is. And I remember my last post, I just had my dinner and my picture was my feet, legs crossed with the door just shut and the rain trickling into the door. And it was like end of May. So I knew that ButtHead gets caught around that time, all the time, every year. Not every year, but most years it gets caught that last week of May, first week of June. And my last post was this big fish weather incoming. And then I sat there, and about 10 minutes later, I had a single bleep, beep. And I've not had a bleep all the time I was there, apart from a line trailer that had gone through. And it was about 2 days before. And then I went off on one of them when I... Like fucking line trailer, posted it on the Facebook. You fancy rig arseholes, gadgets, just don't like line trailers because half of it's because people can't tie rigs properly. And I had a single bleep and I've locked out, and then it's bleeped again. So I've unzipped the door, left the dog in the bivvy, zipped it right up, and I've casually walked to the rod, and I just saw it tighten up. And as it's tightened up, I saw the tip going like that. That's a bite. That's a bite. So I left the rod going and I went back to the bivvy and got my chest waders on. I could see it just tightening up. Normally on Girton, with these 20 pounders that you got in there, they're beep, beep, beep. These 20 pounders are absolutely raw off. This was different. It was just a slow. And as soon as I leant into it, I just went, that's a good one. Straight, completely different bite, completely different fish to anything I caught out of the lake. And I knew there's no catfish in there, nothing. It was just a log. And I felt it coming slowly towards me. There's something different about this. So I stick my head cam on, started filming. And about 40 minutes later, I'd walked about 200 yards down to the left. And luckily, the swims next to where I was fishing, there was nobody in them. If there had been people in them,
because they were
I'm
so
not
bad.
sure. Yeah, I'm not
such
sure.
a rubbish area.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd have landed it because it had gone through people's lines. It just would off. It had big, deep fish, and it had just gone and gone and gone to the left. I couldn't do anything with it. It just went zzz, and only the day before, and I don't know why I'd done it because I was using quite big hooks. I was using size 4 hooks. I thought maybe I need to drop down to a size 6. Don't know why I did it, and I dropped down a size to a size 6, so it's a little bit smaller. So you're thinking, I can't give it any stick; it's going to pop out, and I know it's a good one.
Yeah.
And I just filmed it for 40 minutes, and I knew it was a good one. And cut a long story short, I saw it roll in front of the net, and I just saw a massive common.
Did you know at that time? You're like,
No, because there's two big commons in there. There's one that's called Tootie, and then there's ButtHead. Tootie's a mid 50, 55 pounds, and then ButtHead's 64. You just get this little glance of it, and I've watched it over and over again, and you cannot tell which fish it is when you first see it. You just see this big common go over, and you go,
wow,
that's a good one. That's a good one. And then I've eventually, from the moment I first saw it to when I netted it, was about another 10 minutes later, and didn't get any sighting whatsoever of it until it went in the net. And when it went in the net, there was none of that, get in there, none of that noise. None of that. I just looked at it and I thought, man, that's that fish. That's ButtHead straight away. Because I could see its tail was not... Tootie got a slightly damaged tail from somebody dropped it or marked it on the mat or something a few years ago.
I think they were trying to do self-takes, weren't they? And it flapped about and stuff.
And Ben walked round the corner and saw whoever was doing it was away from the fish, and it broke its tail slightly. So the tail was slightly different, and I saw it, and I knew straight away which fish it was. And the guys on the far bank knew, because they know what I'm like. Not that I'd had no bites for a start off all week. They knew I was playing one, and I was playing this one for 40 minutes. So I got back to my phone, and the message off some of the guys on the far bank was, which one is it? They knew which one.
Yeah.
They knew this was big one. And it were ButtHead at 64. So
stuff of dreams.
Really nice. It is because it's where I live. That fish it's a massive fish for up north. 64 pounds.
That's a massive fish anywhere in the country.
Anywhere.
And it's a stunner, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's an
yeah.
For a
absolute
common stunner.
It's a real beautiful carp.
At the time, I posted on social media that the capture of that fish was actually more of an accomplishment than catching the Burfield Common, because in the 10-year period that fish had done less captures than the Burfield Common had, which was met.
Plus, you like to wind people.
Yeah. You know, I wasn't catching many fish, so I thought I'd try and catch some Facebook people instead. But it wasn't an easy like it was.
Well, like you said, it was not even a once a year fish. Once every 18 months, every 2 years. It's a massive lake.
When you've been there as well, 70, 80 acres is big, but it feels loads bigger, doesn't it? Because it's so long. When you stand at one end, look down the other end, if fish were showing right down the other end, you'd struggle to know, like, because it's just so long. It's a massive lake. Like you say, mega deep, 1,000 carp in there back then. I think there's a lot less in there now since the flooding.
Yeah, there's lost a few more now, yeah.
But for me, that was an absolute... And because I knew that you were trying to catch that fish by doing it in a different way, for me, it was just like, that was an amazing capture. And the pictures are really, really nice as well.
Yeah.
Like, really nice photos.
Those, yeah, really nice.
Really nice photos. It looked mint and...
It's a mint fish, you know. I've not seen many pictures of that carp where it doesn't look very good. It is a beautiful carp, really nice carp.
When was it last out? Was it still...
It was caught in the spring this year. One of the lads... I forget what his name is.
He's had it twice, hasn't he?
He's the only guy that's caught it twice, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, an old guy, an old member. He's no publicity. Old guy, been carping many years. He's caught virtually everything in that lake. Enjoys going there. And he's still alive. 64 again still now, I think. He's 60, 63, 12, 14, something like that.
Amazing.
Yeah. Big fish.
Do you ever talk to a carp on the bank?
No, I don't kiss him either. You see Briggsy snogging him, don't you? Like, he's kissing him all the time. I've never kissed a carp in my life.
I've just remembered a thing that happened. You know, when he was talking about if somebody catches your fish, not to get not to present them. You know, like enjoy it. I'd fish for this one fish. It's called free scales in this Cambridgeshire gravel pit, let's say. And I had a plan to catch it, and I'd convinced myself it weren't going to get caught on a bright hook bait. I was using black tiger nuts, and I was really obsessed that this fish was too clever to fall for a fluorescent bright hook bait, right? Anyway, this guy turns up for his first session, catches it on a white bait, right? Anyway, I'd actually reeled in at the time. I was on one of the other lakes. He'd come running around. He's out of breath. Look, can you do me a picture? I've got the big one. And your heart sinks a little bit, but then you're like, oh, mega, I'm going to get to see it on the bank. Never seen it on the bank. So we've got around, and I'm looking at it on the mat, and I'm studying its mouth, its position of its eyes. I'm imagining, how is that fish feeding? How is it like, you know, I'm like extending its mouth with my fingers to see how overslung it is. And I'm looking at it, and I just said to it, I'll fucking see you soon. I'm having and I was the next person to catch it. And when it went in the net, like you said, I wasn't giving it the bash, get in there. I went, I fucking told you.
Oh, yeah.
Class. It's that kind of info, though, that you just said about studying it that helped me catch the wood common, because before I caught the wood common, you caught it. And I always remember you telling me, did you know it's got a funny mouth? You don't see it in its photographs of that fish. It's got
because you only see one side of it.
It's got a slightly twist on
it. And I remember him telling me that, and I thought, right, I've got to use something really small. Yeah. So it was a small bait that I caught it on, but it was thanks to Lou telling me that its mouth, it's only about that big.
Yeah,
it's got a slightly weird side on one side. You wouldn't notice it from the photographs.
And that's making it even harder to catch. And it's no publicity now. Yeah. But I went there in the autumn to see some friends who were fishing there, and the rudd populations exploded even more than when we fished it, and they're now of a size where they're picking up bait regularly. All right. And because if you want to try and catch that fish, you're giving yourself an advantage by using a small hook bait and a small hook. Yeah. You're also then catching the rudd, so you could be prime time on the spot. It could be on the zone, and then you catch a 2-pound rudd. So it's making it even harder, like, because you can put a real big hook bait on to avoid the rudd, but then it can't necessarily catch it. So yeah. But again, that's that knowledge, isn't it? Like you say. Yeah. Getting to know the fish. Getting to know the fish. So many people overlook it. They really do. You know, they're just so engrossed in the latest fandangled. You know, that it was just that page, that Carp Baits page. Like, totally Carp
Baits. And they take the pee out of these mechanical. I always look at those and I smile and stuff. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you was talking about fandangled rigs, Crowie, because I've come prepared and I wanted to ask you a couple of questions if I can. Sorry, Dean. For
no, you go for it. It's fine.
You only have to say yes or no.
All right.
Have you ever used this rig? Chod rig.
I have, but I've never caught carp on a chod rig.
Shot on the hook rig.
Never.
KD rig.
No.
Wivy pool rig.
No.
Hinge stiff rig.
No.
Combi multi D rig.
Don't even know what one. Don't ask for a tutorial with me. When the guys come up and straight away they talk about rigs, I'm like, look, forget all that. I'll show you what I use. So no, I could not tell you how to type off those rigs at all. You know, I have no interest. I'd turn the page.
Yeah, it's all about knowledge of the fish. Knowledge is power. That's how you catch them, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not saying that rigs aren't important, because they are. You know, sometimes people can misinterpret what I'm trying to say. I've never turned around and said that rigs isn't important, because it is. And I do believe that some of the rigs that you see, they will give you a better chance of catching a fish. I was on Birch Grove many years ago when Frank Warwick was on there. And Frank's an absolute genius. His brain's on a different level for thinking about how to get around a problem. And I've seen Frank get more bites than anybody else on the lake because he's doing something with his rigs. He wasn't necessarily landing them all, but he was getting more chances.
Yeah.
And when you see people doing that, you can see there is an advantage in having certain rigs, in using certain rigs. You know, Roger Bacon is another guy. He's got this great rig. I've seen him put it on Facebook a couple of 3 years ago.
It looks so time consuming to tie,
it does,
doesn't it?
I'd have to look at it and
think,
I'd have to buy him off him.
But which he does do, doesn't he? He sells them.
Yeah, because he catches so many, and I know anglers that use his rig and do well with it as well. So it's obviously a really good rig. And you watch his little video where he does a tank test, and you think,
it looks amazing.
Yeah. I just thought, I can't tie it, and I ain't got the time to tie it. So yeah. You know, but yeah,
it's definitely there's definitely something in it. I do believe that there is. And I had a conversation only a few days ago with one of my mates on the lakes on fishing. We were talking about rigs, and he was asking me why. I'm not bigging myself up or anything. He says, how do you catch half decent fish, Crow, but you don't catch many? And I'm rarely top rod on any lake. And I turn around and says, do you know what I think it is? I think it's because my rig is that crap that I only catch the mugs, and the mugs are the big uns. Do you know what I mean? And honestly, I do think it's because of that. You know, I tend to get less bites, but half decent ones, and it's because the rig, these mugs, these fat uns, because at the end of the day, big carp generally are big greedy carp, aren't they? They eat a lot.
And you do see that on most lakes. There's someone who doesn't. There is someone who doesn't catch many. Oh, he hasn't caught any of it. But when they do catch, they will be big uns. You know, I've had. I mean, this is definitely applies to me. I've had 20 in my last 3 trips, and he's had one. I haven't had one over £30, and he's just had a 45 pounder. How's that?
Yeah, but again, you're remembering the 45 pounder, though, aren't you? Not the guy who's caught loads. You know, and you're a match angler. That's what I was talking about before.
Yeah.
You always remember the big uns. You know, Terry Earn.
Yeah.
Not because of, you know, he's had 20 fish to £16 today. It's because he catches the big uns, the special ones.
Yeah.
Just for the people listening, your rig. Let's just describe your rig and how long effectively you've used that sort of that rig, that mechanics. When did you first do it?
I can't tell you. That's when I started carp fishing. Is you just progress into a certain rig. You know, back when I was a young kid, it was all about braided uplinks. You know, it's not so much anymore. But in the days of the 1980s, when Christon was born, which is Dave Chilton's company, Dave came up with the idea that carp need to be, you know, they've got big thick lips. If you can have a hook link that they can't feel, so you drag it over your hands and you can't feel it, a bit of braid, that's the sort of thing that carp like. And if they can suck at an item and it goes in its mouth, that's the kind of rig that you want to be using. And I was brought up on that kind of, those theories of rigs, you know, the braided hook links. And I've just carried on using them.
And it's
I'm
a
still using them today.
And a blowback kicker type thing.
Yeah. It's like the liner, which Jim Gibbonson, bless him, you know, the late Jim Gibbonson passed away this year. He designed it all. You know, I went through the era of the bent hook rig. I was even around when the hair rig first started, although I wasn't on the hair rig because I was that young kid up the corner that no one told anything to. You know, why are these guys catching loads? You know, and eventually I found out it was the hair rig, and then I went through the bent hook rig, and the bent hook rig was obviously quite damaging to carp's mouths, and then Jim invented the liner, and you know that, and it definitely, again, if you drag the hook link across your palm of your hand or the finger test and things like that, which is what we was doing in the late 80s, early 90s, you was looking for a rig that was twisting round and the liner. I've just carried on with it. Just carried on using that because as I've kind of found out with fishing, because I've been down that rig spiral where you go into a tackle shop, what should I buy? I'll buy that, and then you get home and you don't use half of it, and then just wasted how much money, and you find yourself getting nowhere closer towards finding something that's good for you. I'm all for choice. When you go in a tackle shop, you can buy lots of different things because we all like different rigs. And if you got another 10 anglers in this room now, and you asked us each which is your favourite rig, you'd have 10 different rigs. And I think it's to do with confidence. And the longer I've been carp fishing, I kind of feed off confidence. I never go on a lake and I'm on the top rod, but I catch the carp that I like to catch.
Yeah.
And my rig, I'm very confident in it, and I've used it for God knows how long. I've taken it to God knows how many different waters during my career, and I've caught from places like Lake Ontario, rivers, canals, Orient, Shanty, Redmere,
Cassian,
everywhere. I've been everywhere with this rig, and I've caught with it. But it might not necessarily be the best rig.
No, but I think if it ain't broke.
Yeah. It's the old Julian Cundiff thing. If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. And I think rigs, of course it's important, but it gives you such a small minority of an extra step up the ladder. I like to think, well, I'll go down the route of understanding the carp, which gives me a much better step up the ladder of trying to understand what's going on in my swim and what the fish are doing.
Amazing. Crowie, I could literally chat to you forever, mate. I really could. Before you go, I have got a quick fire round, which I'll get into next. But before we do that, guys...
Quick fire round number 2.
It is number 2. But before we do that, guys, it is competition time. So if you'd like to get your hands on 100 quid's worth of Fox terminal tackle, in the comments of this video, I would like to know what is the name of the venue that Crowie caught ButtHead from. Put that in the comments below, and please make sure you are a member of Fox's official community page, The Syndicate. The link is in the comments as well. That is where you'll see the winner and the draw being done. So, you ready for your quick fire round?
Go for it.
Cool, man. Right, we did these earlier.
Are these yes/no answers or?
Kinda. Yeah. Some are, some aren't.
Yeah, just don't think about them.
Don't think
quick
about
fire.
them. Right, here we go. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Favourite dunking biscuit?
It used to be Garibaldi's, but now
I knew you was going to say
I'd
that.
say the wife does these lovely like biscuits. I don't even know what they are, but the wife's biscuits.
Wife's biscuits.
Yeah, they're nice.
Favourite football team?
England.
Hobby outside angling?
Keeping fit, but walking in the Lake District with the wife and the dog.
What winds you up on the bank?
Green-eyed monsters.
What's the one thing your 15-year-old self wouldn't believe about you now?
That I've made a career out of fishing.
Nice.
One bait for the rest of your life?
Maize.
One subject you'd love to learn more about?
Rigs.
Nice.
I don't think I'd do very well at it. I think I'd fail that one.
What scares you?
Chili. No, I don't. I love chili.
Angling hero?
Oh, got to be Rod. I've got loads of them. Rod, Tim Paisley, Kev Clifford, Kevin Nash, Martin Locke, Steve Briggs, Julian Cundiff. Loads of them.
All had an effect on your angling career.
On me, mate.
Yeah,
Frank Warwick as well.
Your favourite bankside meal?
The same one I eat every day.
Fucking hell, that's the worst question for him. Some boiled veg and a can of soup.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, chopped up veg,
days.
whole meal pasta with a bit of soup.
Fair
I hate
play.
cooking. I hate it, so it's just energy.
Name 2 fox anglers you'd love to invite on a European trip with you.
Probably these 2. These are good lads to fish with.
There you go,
These are good lads. Yeah.
Get a trip sorted.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, well.
I'd like to go there.
have to make
You'd be
sure I've got
safe at catching the big one with me along anyway.
Yeah, and I have to bring plenty of food because I won't be eating your boiled veg.
And last one, mate. What is your main goal for 2026?
Oh God, 2026. I don't set many goals. It's just I just see what happens, see how it ends up. Just
See where the wind blows.
Yeah, just love carp fishing, mate.
Free
And I
spirit.
don't think I'll ever stop loving carp fishing. So
Yeah.
I ain't got any goals, but the next big one, if it turns up.
Amazing.
It will, knowing you. It
Yeah,
always does.
yeah. There's no if.
Just around the corner. Crowie, thank you so much for taking the time out to come into the podcast. Really appreciate you coming in, and
Thanks
it's
for
been
having me on.
amazing chatting to you.
Yeah, same to you guys. Nice to see you all. Thank
Yeah,
you very
Merry
much. for having me.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. to
Merry,
you
Merry
all.
Christmas, guys. Whatever you're
Yeah.
doing over the festive period, stay safe, and we'll see you all in 2026.
And one last thing. I didn't choose this jumper.
Thanks for tuning in. See you on the next one.